Hello, hello, hello. All right, guys. Sorry, a little bit late. I was trying to get Vo Vibes in on it and do a Zoom stream, but I still haven't figured it all out yet. So all this techno stuff, man, it's like whoa. But anyway, we are here now, and I'll just hang on for a little bit. So I know. So I'm sure people will be filing in here in just a bit. Hey, Celestial, how are you? Feeling a little under the weather? Well, I'm sorry to hear that. All right. Zachariah, how are you doing? How are you doing? Grand Risings. Okay, Celestial, I got you. I understand. Well, the information will be there when when you need it, when you're ready for it. Okay, so it's all there. Most definitely. All right. Okay, guys. We'll get going here, and thank you all for being here. Again, I'm starting a little bit late. I was trying to get Vo Vibes on with me, but man, my Zoom just would not work properly. So, or I couldn't work it properly. I guess I just need to figure out what I'm doing there, but I'll figure it out. So next time we'll get it going next time. So, let's see. Uh, so starting out the day again, guys, just let's be kind to each other in the chat, and let's be kind to the chat person. And Vo Vibes is moderating for me, and got a just a couple of questions here that I was going to start out with, and one that I was asked that I thought was a really good question by someone. That they asked, who they are really kind of newly out of Christianity, and really kind of learning this Kemetic knowledge. And the question that they asked me is, who should I worship now? It's like, I worship, like, I worship God and Jesus, but now who should I worship? And I thought that was just an excellent question, because I know a lot of people that's what a lot of people will ask me. Who should I worship? How should I pray now? Those kind of things, because you're used to doing it a certain way. So the idea is that, first of all, you have to think in a different way. So you have to think in a whole new paradigm. So the old way that you looked at worship and worshiping God is totally different now. Okay, so first of all, when we're talking about this idea of God, is from the Kemetic perspective and the African's perspective, it wasn't about worshiping this big person in the sky. It wasn't trying to, in the Christian way, what we were doing, we were trying to placate this big God in the sky. And hopefully, if we did everything right, then this God would take care of us. It would watch out for us. It would watch over us. It would do all of those things. Okay. But that was that God that's outside of us. Okay. So in the Kemetic system, they didn't have a God outside of them, because the way that they looked at it, everything that existed was God. So everything in nature, everything that could possibly be, anything you could think about, a thought, a fly, a tree, all of that was God. Okay. So they would basically say God is. Biblically, the way that was stated was, I am. Okay. I am that I am. Okay. So anything that is, anything that's possible, I am. And that's the way that they looked at it. So that also includes you. So in the Christian way, the thought was is that God was who God is, and then created something else. But in the deeper philosophical aspect of it, there is nothing that can be created outside of God. Okay, God can't multiply itself or doesn't multiply itself, or it wouldn't be the all. So everything that is God is the all. Okay, and everything that exists is the all, including you. So in the Christian way, it was about finding your relationship to God. In the Kemetic way, it's about basically recognizing and realizing your own divinity. Okay, it's about developing your own divinity. Okay, so and the way that you would do that is you be the best version of you every single day. You become the best version of yourself every moment and every day. And I would say that probably the most simple way to do that is to really just follow your joy. You know, the things that bring you joy, let that be your guide. And I know from a Christian perspective, that was hard to do because a lot of times it was the thought process was is that if you enjoyed it, it was probably a sin if you enjoyed it too much. Okay, and that was just that kind of Christian heritage type thing where they believe that you should be doing everything you could to get out of the physical body so you can go back to the spiritual world. So that if you enjoyed something too much, it would make you want to stay here in the physical. Okay, so that's where the battle about being spiritual as opposed to being secular. You know, that's where those battles started. But the way that the Kemetic way of thinking was is that when you get to live a life, then that was a good thing. You got a chance to live, and that means you get a chance to learn. That means you get a chance to love. You get a chance to do all those things in the physical. Okay, so by being yourself and the most and the living the highest vision of yourself every day, living through your joy, that's how you become divine. That's how you live through being divine, by creating through love, creating through joy. Okay, so that's the difference in trying to worship something rather than becoming something. And you're always in a state of becoming, always. Okay, when it comes to these ideas, you're always becoming, and that's what Genesis actually meant, was becoming, not a beginning. It was becoming something, and that's a constant process. So you're never not connected to the all, because you are the all clothed in a different form. That's all that is. That's all that means. So worshiping, now that you're not a part of Christianity, it isn't about worshiping something anymore. It's about you becoming the best you. Okay, and what do you do every day to live that best you? All right. And that's what it's about. And it's not about you trying to live to somebody else's expectations, you trying to live by somebody else's rules. Because I have a mantra that I go by is that every single day you define your life by you, for you, and you have the courage to live that definition. Okay. And it does take courage to do it, because there are other people that are going to try to judge you or tell you what you should and should not do. But that's not what it's about. Okay. So living that best you, okay, not having to follow anybody else's rules. So that's what really developing the divine you is about. Okay. Being you at every moment. And that doesn't mean that you're trying to obtain perfection, because the idea of perfection is really It's a how can I say it's not a real it's not possible. It's not how things are. The idea of God as being perfected and never evolving and never ever improving, that's just not real. Okay, so we're always improving, always changing. We're always doing, always growing, and that's really the state that we want to be in. Okay. Good morning, Menace. Let's see. Okay. Okay. All right. Is a false image. Okay. Yeah. This is what my book about. Okay. Yeah. Restoring our divinity. Yeah. So why does the Bible say lean not on on your own understanding? That is a good question. That's a good question. And that is, to me, that is one of the real issues about being religious, is that you are supposed to look to authority for your direction. So your own inner understanding and your own inner guidance, it's like you're supposed to disconnect from that if it goes against what authority wants you to do. So to me, it's all about you connecting into what I would call your holistic communication network. And part of that is your intuition. Part of that is you're connecting to your soul, and your soul sends you information via intuition. So intuition a lot of times is such subtle knowledge and such a subtle vibration. You don't hear it. It's just something that you feel, you know? And that's what intuition does. So by all means, you are the best judge of what's good for you and what's not. Now, do you stub your toe? Do you, head down the wrong direction and then you got to turn around and go a different direction? Absolutely. But that's what life's about. So you learn, and you learn through your mistakes. All of that is just part of the journey. So you're not going to get it right every time, and you're not going to get it right the first time. I tell you right now, for me, man, I'm one of the most stubborn, bullheaded individuals that I've had to have my butt kicked a few times, through my lessons. So, but that's just how I am. So I learned that, just you gotta make it your journey, you know, and don't be afraid to make a mistake. So I'll say again, sin is not trying to live the way Christianity tries to tell you to do. In the Kemetic way, sin was about not being the best you and not living your truth. In other words, you missed the mark. And the mark was set before you got here as a soul. So that's what sin from a Kemetic perspective is about, is you missing the mark of being you when you're not being authentically you. Okay. Let's see. Or how will soul exist in the coming new AI reality? How will a soul exist in the coming AI realities? Now that's something I hadn't thought about. So AI is going to be definitely something that's going to be a part of us, so a part of our society, that's for sure. Ugoli, how's it going? I'm still trying to get that name. You Glowhe. I think I'm getting closer. With technology, we can create our own human beings. Do these beings created in a lab have souls? This is the thing, and your idea of a soul. Everything, a soul is really spirit, okay? And everything that is in creation has consciousness or is consciousness, or we wouldn't even be able to experience it. So is it conscious like a human being? Nah, it might not be, but it does have its own consciousness. A rock has its own consciousness. Okay, but and it has a soul, but it's just not a soul like us. So anything in existence has spirit in it. It can't exist without it. Okay. So everything has a soul on some, or spirit within it on some level. And even in the Apocrypha, I know one of the sayings that Jesus had in the Apocrypha was that even if you turn over a rock, there I am. Okay, so that means everything in existence has spirit, or has the light of spirit within it, and that's what a soul is. So if you think about it, soul comes from the Latin term SOL, which means light, and light is an aspect of creation. Okay, so it has so even AI, even I mean a piece of paper. It this is it it if we can't experience if we can experience it, excuse me, if we can experience it, it has spirit. It is part of spirit. It's just spirit in another form. But it might not be, it's not conscious like we are, because man is supposedly on earth the highest representation of the creator on earth. But everything is conscious. I mean, a pencil. So it has consciousness, it has spirit in it. It has to be spirit in order to even exist. Okay? Let's see what else. Amanda Toussaint says, what are some of the key Christian learnings that need to be unlearned to embrace African spirituality? I would say the idea that you are created in sin, you are a sinner. Those are you. When you have embraced original sin as something you believe in, that's one of the key things to unlearn, because it is damaging to the soul level. It really is. That idea that you are born faulty through no fault of your own, that's insidious. That is an insidious teaching. It really is. Let's see. Doctrine of total depravity, how you spoke about in your last video. How does it become? So Dex, how are you doing? So total depravity is just the idea that we are supposedly born, and through being born as human, we don't even have the ability to follow God. We don't have the ability to connect, because we're just automatically corrupt individuals. Every individual that's ever born is every individual that will ever be born is automatically born corrupt. That belief coupled with original sin. That's one of those that if we don't shed that idea, because if you think about it, when we assume that everybody is corrupt, we already have a negative opinion of them. And when we have a negative opinion of something, then that's when we can start to treat people in a negative way, because they don't deserve to be, in some kind of way. Because we don't agree with who they are or what they are, then they don't deserve to be. And that's the opposite of the Kemetic teaching. Everything that exists is valid and deserves to be in its own form, plain and simple. Let's see. Yes, I agree with you. So Vovive says the idea of being fearful of God, because fear and love cannot exist in the same space. And the idea that you're supposed to fear God, this entity outside of you, why should you fear that created you? So that's another one, that you're supposed to fear God. I agree. That's a belief. Again, it's such a slippery slope, because if you can't believe that the universe or God is working in your favor, when things start to go negative for you in your life and you think you're being punished, where does it stop? And that's where we really have a lot of difficulties, or had a lot of, I know for me as a Christian, if if when I was thinking that I might be punished because maybe I did something wrong, I wouldn't even have any idea why, you know. But it was like God was like saying, well, I was being told or believed that maybe God was working against me, and that's never the case. Never the case. What works against you is your own thought system. That's what works against you. The axiom that humans are the highest consciousness here on Earth is going to be challenged by AI coming. It's possible, Celestial, that might be challenged. It's possible. Let's see. Yeah, okay. AI is intelligent, not conscious. AI is intelligent, not conscious. Okay, that's a good thing. Yep, just because something is intelligent, because computers are very intelligent. So yeah, and I think the renaissance of true spirituality, period, is going to be, you know, the new way that humanity will rise, you know, because when we've gotten into so many, I mean, you think about people believe that if everybody in one religion thought the same way, then the world would be better. But it has not worked out that way. You really and truly, if you look at the world, people fight each other when they disagree on what should be believed, you know, rather than being able to respect what somebody's beliefs are, even if they're different. Okay. Let's see. How do you pray? That's a good question. So that's another one. So as far as the idea that the only way you pray is when you are doing this ritual, okay? In reality, you are never not praying. And I said that double net intentionally. You are never not praying. So the essence of who you are is a prayer. Okay. And then what I mean by that is that the essence of who you are is light, energy, and vibration. Okay. And you are always existing in those forms. And when you're communicating with the universe, you're literally communicating through your vibration. Okay. So what you're vibrating, the level that you're vibrating on is how you're praying. The number one law of the universe is what you put out is what you get back. Okay. In other words, your inner beliefs, your thoughts and beliefs, even the subconscious beliefs, which are 95% of what you live and what you see every day, that's what you're putting out to the universe, and then it's being reflected back to you as life. So life is feedback. Okay. Most times we think life is happening to us. No, life is happening through us. And as long as we think in a certain way, then our life is going to go a certain way, okay, based on our beliefs. Let's see. Season or people. Yes, Amanda, I would have. Yes, I would say. So she says in this season, are people awakening? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Because there's just so much information out there that people are literally they're being bombarded, and a lot of times because of fear, they won't investigate. But there's something that is happening where a lot of people are being forced to wake up in a lot of ways. So, and Vovai says, yes, Amanda, we are entering the age of Aquarius. We chose to incarnate during the Great Awakening. Exactly. This is a whole nother energetic era for us. So, yes, Vovai says, what a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. So that you're in within the Great Awakening now. We're on those of us that are awakening are on a leading edge. I mean, we're like the first ones coming out in this awakening. So it's an amazing time, and a lot of times it can be kind of scary. You know, it really can. Celestial, yeah, she says, I think humanity is feeling raped by technology. And a lot of times if we're feeling victimized, we live in a world right now that thinks in terms of victim and perpetrator. And that's a low vibrational way of thinking about things because we chose to be here now and we're never a victim. So if we do start to think and feel in that mode, then we got to figure out what's the lesson that we're supposed to learn in order to really transmute that experience and transmute that energy into something positive. So that's what we're here to do. So the age of Aquarius, Amanda, is just in astrology, and I wish Vo Vibes is on here now because she's the one who's the astrologer. But in astrology, you have different ages, and you have so you have like the Piscean age, the Aquarian age, the Capricorn age. So each one of those signs is an age, okay, and they represent an energetic archetype. So each sign has its own type of energetic feel, so to speak, okay. And the Aquarian age, we're leaving the Piscean age and going into the Aquarian age, this energy is going to be like tumultuous. There'll be a lot of change. A lot of the old systems that we had in the Piscean age are going to be broken down in the Aquarian age. So it's just a new energy. Even the people that are being born now are coming into this new energy, and they a lot of times think differently than the generations that lived in the Piscean age. So all these ages are talking about different energetic archetypes. Is the best way I can put it. Let's see. Change the matrix. Walking away from it. Let's see. I was see Ellie Williams say I was just watching the Matrix on AI too. Also, how do you deal with your family after walking away from a religious system? Ellie, that's a good question, and I know a lot of people because you really and that's a lot of the fear that a lot of people have, and it's real and relevant. Okay, and once you walk away, first of all, you got to understand that takes a lot of courage for you to do. A lot of courage because you are leaving a whole system of support, so to speak. But what you can do best for you is first find some support, some other support, people that think like you in some kind of way, whether it's online or in person, and then love who you are, and then respect and love them where they are. And I know that's hard to do sometimes because they're not able to do that by the way that they're taught. They're going to come at you in ways that are going to activate you in a way that's going to be, you're dealing with a lot of anger. So, but you have more knowledge than they do because really and truly, living through Christianity in most religions is like being stuck in spiritual elementary school without the ability to advance, but being so ignorant and so arrogant. And I use ignorance in the terms of not knowing, okay, not trying to talk down on someone, but ignorance and not knowing. They don't know that they are ignorant, and a lot of times act so arrogantly within that ignorance, and it can be frustrating. Can be frustrating. Hey, Crawley, good morning. You Goalie, hey, I'm doing good this morning. I hope you and everyone in the chat is doing well. All right, thank you. You Glowly. All right. You do walk away, you become the devil. Yeah, Stephen, that's right. When you do walk away, man, they got all kinds of names for you, but that's just their perspective. And again, it's just their limited perspective. So it's incumbent upon us to be, I guess, have enough esteem about ourselves that we can accept who we are, even in the face of what they want to try to define us as. We have to define ourselves and define our own way of being. and that's really what being, that's having high spiritual esteem, is that you're okay with your being. And that's a journey in itself in getting to that place, and when you first leave, you're going to have doubts. You're going to wonder if, well, maybe, what if they were right? That hangs on for a long time. I've been out of the church probably 20 years, and it was probably, man, maybe 6, 7 years ago where I finally just said, you know what, there's no way they could be right. And then when I found the Kemetic knowledge, I was like, oh man, yeah, there's no way. This is, now I see where all this stuff comes from. It's really a lot of times stupidity. Let's see. I can see in the aquarium age babies being born in secret to avoid having vacations. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of the shedding, you have to unlearn just as much as you have to learn. A lot of people really don't consider the psychological impact that Christianity has had. And it's depending on how long you were in Christianity. If you were Christian before you were 7 years old, they literally programmed you. And there's a lot of that programming that you spend the rest of your life trying to get over. And that's no joke. You literally, if you were young and being brought up, and I was one of those. I was one of those that was brought up in the church from birth, and and people that live in a rigid fundamentalist system, man, they have all kinds of psychological issues that they're dealing with. And a lot of times when you're in Christianity, you don't even realize that there are issues because everybody else is just normalized, because everybody else is dealing with the same stuff. Yeah, you got to discover, Vovive said, you got to discover your conditioning and unlearn it. So that's again where you have to literally go into understanding your shadows and bringing them to the light so you can examine them and then you can do something about them. Okay. How will this awakening last? What do you mean? How will it last? TK Brantley, how are you doing? So how will it last? Because it's an ongoing process. It's not something that you're going to have like a clear demarcation. Starts here and it ends here. It's never like that. Okay. It's just something that's always going. Okay. Yeah, the souls, Vovive said the souls will feed the revolution. Absolutely. So all the kids that are coming in now, man, they're coming in turned on. They're coming in, and like the millennials, man, if y'all are millennials, y'all are the ones who are breaking down a lot of these systems because y'all refuse to live the old way that the baby boomers lived and the other generations lived. Y'all are breaking down systems, man. So and then even this COVID-19, if you think about it, that virus has literally changed systems forever. That's part of our societal creation. The COVID virus is part of our creation to literally change systems, break them down, and to usher in a new age. Streets. Young adult. Yep. And conferences. Yep, I did that too, Eli. Yeah. So I did that too. So or L. I grew up in all of those, went to the summer retreats, vacation Bible school, all of those things. I mean, man. And man, I used to love Bible stories. I mean, what's the movie? The Ten Commandments. Man, when the Ten Commandments came on TV for years, I would be sitting in front of that TV watching Charlton Heston, waiting for him to raise those his staff when they're crossing the Red Sea, you know. So, but now I've learned all that stuff is really, it's esoteric language, man. It's they're literally talking secret codes that can be helpful if we understood the codes. It really is. Bovine said, "My generation gonna shake things up. Absolutely, absolutely, y'all are. So yeah, everything is changing, and for the good. And the people who are stuck in the old ways, man, they're gonna have it difficult. But it's happening and it's coming. So, and there's no stopping it. There's no stopping it. You saying that the Ten Commandments was a good movie? It was. It was. It was entertaining, you know. But I just kind of laugh at myself now because I was like, man, I was on the edge of my seat with that story. I mean, it came on every year. I think it might still does. So it came on, and man, I would be in front of the TV watching all the time. Yes, Celestial, me too. I'm a baby boomer. So I was born way back when. I'm kind of at the tail end of the baby boomers. Let's see. All of them happen. Interesting. So yeah. Celestial, you're at the beginning. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think then this baby boomers started in right after the war. So right after World War II, that was the baby boom, and they just transformed society in another way as they moved through because there was such a huge group of kids, the school systems, all of that was transformed because of the baby boomers, millennials. Yeah, you are. Vo vibes. You're at the beginning of the millennials. You sure are. So yeah. So any other questions? Elijah, how's it going, partner? How are you doing? So the question I do have, we go. Okay, so explain. What do you mean? Where do we go from here, El? So what do you mean by that? Let's see. Do you talk about worship? Yes, Ebony. I talked about that at the beginning, right out the box. Talked about that. Stephen, if you're talking about the Bible, so Stephen says, I think the Bible is a program. If you look at it from the exoteric level, absolutely positively, it's a program. But esoterically, there is value in it. And even if you are paying attention in the forum in class, Stephen, so Stephen's in the classroom. But if you're paying attention in the forum, I broke down a couple of those scriptures. I broke down a couple of scriptures esoterically for you. And it's a whole nother light. So in those scriptures we were talking about, I mean, we're talking about formulas, literally, you know. So it's pretty deep. Who controlled everything, possess the occult knowledge, and manipulating society, as they say it. Many as you can see it that way. So they do have knowledge that they have been manipulating us with, and they definitely have. But it's incumbent upon us to learn the knowledge ourselves. And that's what we haven't been doing. We've been allowing other people to dictate to us what we should know and what we should learn. And a lot of times they move us with fear. Like Christianity tells you, don't do this. Don't anything outside of the Bible. Excuse me. Anything outside of the Bible for Christianity is looked at as something negative. And that's how they control us. Okay. Zero privacy. I'm still reprogramming myself. I want to really subvert spirituality. Yeah, yes, I understand, and that's a good thing. And where you go from here is you got to get more knowledge and more education. You know, like I just started a class where I'm teaching people the next level of this knowledge, not just learning what the symbols mean and stuff like that. You know what Ptah Osiris is. How do you use it? And that's really what it's about to me, is how do you use it to really live your best life? That's what it's about. Let's see, Amanda Toussaint, the cross. So Amanda was asking about the cross. What is that? And symbolically, the cross has a number of meanings in African spirituality, but in the I guess the mythological stage, the cross is the four elements: earth, wind, fire, water, that that those four elements that it takes for anything to be created in the universe. So anything that anything that exists in the universe first was pinned to the cross or nailed to the cross. So that's one level of what the cross means. Okay, it was just the elements needed to actually form or create something. See, a chance to read it yet. Yeah, you need to go in there, Stephen. That's some good stuff. I know you would enjoy it, Stephen. So in that form. See, Ebony said in short, worship the God will. Okay, explain that to Ebony. See, the magic is one of the devil. See, if you don't lean on your own understanding, you will certainly doubt yourself and be easily manipulated. Yes, Integrity Rocks, agreed. You have to lean on your own understanding. So you are the best judge, and you're supposed to be the best judge for your experience in this world. You're supposed to be. And again, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to stub your toe. You're going to take the wrong directions. But all of those things are part of learning and becoming wise. Okay. The older you get, the wiser you're supposed to be, you know? Let's see. So true. I was baptized at 6, but I would always question everything and still do to this day. I've never contended with the church at all. Yeah, TK, I wasn't baptized till I was 13, but you were baptized at 6. And you think about it, did you have any idea what baptism was supposed to mean? You know? So, and even what the church says it is, that's not what baptism is. I mean, it's something totally different. Okay, TK. All right, cool. Let's see. Let's such a experience. Celestial, you were baptized at birth. Yeah, they what do the water and the cross on your forehead in the Catholic Church. So I know I had my daughter. My daughter, she was what was christened. My daughter and my son. So they were christened in the church. And get this, I had been atheist for a long time, and then I still went back to the church because I was searching for something spiritual. So I was atheist for a while and then went back to the church. So Amanda Toussaint says, what is baptism? And literally, if you think about it, when the soul, the body is actually 70% water. Well, baptism is about the soul immersing into the body. So your baptism is when the soul immerses into a body and becomes physical. Okay. And as you journey, you are baptized by fire when you are having your experiences, when you stub your toe and you learn. That's baptism by fire. When you have your experience, you go through your hell. Then you rise consciously. Okay. That's when you become a Christ. Okay. You become enlightened. So baptism was about the soul immersing into a physical body. Let's see. It's constantly learning. Are we just constantly learning? Yes, Minez, we're constantly learning. That's part of our journey as spirit. That the ultimate deal is that once we leave the oneness, that we are journeying and we have this how can I say, this need to get back. But in order to get back, you have to raise your level of vibration so that you can merge with it. That means you have to assimilate all experiences until you get to that level to where you can merge back into oneness. And then when you merge back in, guess what? You start all over again. Okay. So consciousness is always ever evolving, always. So Vovai says, no matter how badly I wanted to believe, it never sat well with me. I always felt fake. the whole production of church. Yeah, yeah. And she said, I strongly dislike church all my life. It never resonated with me. Yeah. And I hated having to get up in the morning and go. My mom always woke me up. That was the only time she would be on time, was going to church. Boy, that used to make me so mad. Is illusion of finished state. Yeah, agreed, Bovies. Perfection is an illusion of a finished state, and infinity has no end. So there is no finished state. We're always evolving, always. And this idea of God as perfection, that's an error. You can't think of it like that. No, and an atheist means that you don't believe there is a God. I just don't believe that there is a God like the Christian God. So no, I'm not atheist. So no, in no way, shape, or form. So I believe that there is a higher power, or that there is a higher expression of who I am. Okay. So no, not an atheist. So an atheist would say that there is no God. Okay. At all. And I know that I just know that there's not that human God. So that's not my idea of God. No, it's never too late, L. So L. Williams says, I'm learning this too late, that it's going to be difficult seeking the truth on consciousness because a lot of what we know, the agents have rewritten history. No, and it's not about them at all. Whatever they've rewritten and whatever they've done, L, is part of your journey in order to switch and change that. But you're never too late. You get to where you are. Well, how can I say this? Wherever you are is the place you're supposed to be. And that's how you have to look at it. Or you're living in a way that you're criticizing and putting yourself down. And you shouldn't do that. Your journey is a beautiful one. And it's specifically meant for you. You can't compare it to somebody else. Okay? Are we able to perform some of the miracles in the Bible, such as walking on water, raising the dead, etc., or are those just allegoricals? Those are just allegorical stories. So if you look at the story, Menez says, are we able to perform some of the miracles in the Bible, such as walking on water, raising? You need to look at my video, the one on devils, the why the African spiritual systems didn't have devils, and I explained that a little bit more in detail, Menez. But all those are just allegorical stories. So if you think of Jesus as an aspect of consciousness, the disciples are aspects of our personalities. That's what they, on one level, that's what they represent. Water is the emotions. So when the storm was raging, that means that the emotions were raging. And when Jesus was walking on the water, that meant that Jesus was Lord or master over his emotions. Because if you remember in the story, he did something and then he calmed the storm. And then the disciples were okay. That meant just your aspects of your personality were okay once you calm the storm. So what is something that you go through in life that causes an emotional uprage or uproar in you? And then you have to learn how to handle it and deal with it. At that point, when you learn how to handle it and deal with it, you're walking on the water. Oh, Israel. Israel is Isis Ra El. Okay? I'll just say that there. Israel. Egypt in the Bible was simply a metaphor for the physical body. That's all Egypt was, a metaphor for the physical body. Hit the like button, everyone. Thank you, Ugoli. Ugoli says hit the like button. Yes, please subscribe. And if anybody wants to donate and give in super chat, it will be greatly appreciated. So thank you very much. Thank you for all those that do give and have give. given. Man, the class has been going absolutely wonderful. So a lot of people are really, really getting a lot out of that. So I'm really pleased with it. And so we got a lot going on there. So a lot happening. So it's closed now, but it'll open up again. So physical, let's see. Agent, I believe. Start to open when he left the nation. Yeah, I agree, Al. Yeah, that's one of my favorite books, man. The autobiography of Malcolm X. I would not have graduated from college if I had not have read that book before I went. So he was one of my heroes for sure. But yeah, he saw differently that his idea of hating and hating white people and calling them devils and stuff like that. He saw that idea was just it wasn't a correct way to think. You know, he saw the love and he saw the beauty in everybody and saw that people and their differences were not necessarily something negative. We take when we're religious, it's like we want every field and every flower in a field to be the same color, and then we'll say that field is beautiful, and we can't really enjoy all the different colors in the field, you know. And that's what race is, because really and truly, there's only one race, the human race. But we should be able to enjoy all the different flowers, so to speak, that exists. So why not? Let's see. Stephen says, "Love your class. It makes you think." Absolutely. Thank you, Stephen. And that's what it's about. It's about rewiring yourself, rewiring your mind, because our life and our reality is a certain way because of the way that we think. Plain and simple. It's because of the way that we think. And until we change our thinking, we cannot change our life. It just can't happen. We can't change our reality. So you can't unify using diverse energy. Let's see. Malcolm saw you can't unify using diverse energy. Yeah, Elijah, that's a good point. You can't, and that's where, as a people, a lot of times, especially the African diaspora, we try to unify around fighting something. That's negative energy or negative energy. You can't unify it. It is universally, by universal law, you can't unify through negative energy. You got to find something positive to focus on and then get that done. But if you're fighting something, it's the opposite energy all the time. Let's see. West Africa. What do you say about that? Yeah, I took one of those too. Postgrad says, I just took a DNA test that traces me back to West Africa. And what do you think about that? No, that's cool. I mean, I wanted to know my heritage too, you know. Now I've been told too that the DNA tests are not really that reliable. I don't know, but still, is I guess it's better than nothing. At least it was for me. So I traced mine back to West Africa as well. Here doing the work. Absolutely. Vovive says, shout out to everyone here doing the work to raise your consciousness. You are affecting more than just you. By doing the work, you're helping raise mass consciousness. Good point. Excellent point. Excellent point. So it's like, anybody heard of the Akashic records? Everybody's consciousness feeds into those records. Own personal Akashic records, and then there's a universal level. You feed into your records and the universal level, and anybody can tap into those records. Like Vera, how's it going? Let's see. Oppositional energies have oppositional consciousness. Colors manifested shows this. Yeah, so that's one way that they're represented. So oppositional energies, yeah. So different colors have different vibrations. Okay, so that's what they represent. Has no race, self consciousness, but others can be a part of it. Like, Yeah, spirituality has no race. It's the human race. So it's all spirituality. So even though it came out of Africa, Africa fed the world on so many levels. And the reason why I connect back to that is because in my heritage, I needed to know how my ancestors did something good for the world, because for so many years I was told that there was nothing good that came out of Africa except slaves, and that's just not true. So when I discovered those ideas, I wanted to basically share that with the world. But the ideas are for humanity to grow with, and so anybody that wants to grow with them, come on. I mean, it's all about humanity growing, and we got to feed everybody. So am I saying everybody? No, everybody is not the same. Melanin and pineal gland. Yeah, see, and so Minna says, so you say everybody is the same. So when people talk about melanin and the pineal gland being special, all that's not true. That's all a part of being human. Menace, that it's the same thing where people are saying that Jesus was something special and different from everybody else. That's not true. There are certain things that are part of humanity that is true for all of us. Okay? And we can't escape that. And when you get stuck in really talking about your specialness in the physical body, that is a part of your experience and is true for that person. But the truth is, we're all souls that are just transitioning through these bodies to have certain experiences and learn. Okay? There's only one race. That is the human race. Yeah, Libera says if you aren't vibrating high enough, you'll have to start over again. And that's part of if you're not learning, then you get the chance to learn again in another life. That's just part of reincarnation. But the colors from beam of light producing 7. Yeah. Yeah, the colors from the one beam of light producing 7. Yeah, that's what our chakras are about. So all those different colors. So, Library, were you asking me that who told me nothing good came out of Africa? So that's just what for me, I'm saying that's what we've been taught coming up. I'm old, so I'll be 58 years old at the end of this month. So when I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, the opinion of the African diaspora was negative all the time. So I had to fight against those things, and there was a lot of things I just was not taught. I luckily had a teacher in high school that taught me about African history. Taught me, and he's the one who turned me on to the autobiography of Malcolm X. I would hate to think what my life would be like if I had not have met that teacher and he had not turned me on to that book. How I would have been thinking, how I would have allowed myself to accept the negative programming about Black people that I was given. Race is an earth learning module. Yep, absolutely. Each race comes with different experiences, but at the core, we're all souls learning. Both eyes. I agree with that 100%. 100%. Do you know the Matrix Neo was really going to be played by Will Smith, but he turned it down and messed it up? That's interesting. I didn't know that, El. I didn't know that. That would have been interesting. That he would have. So El said, did you know that in the movie The Matrix, Neo was originally going to be played by Will Smith, but he turned it down, fearing he would mess it up. So Keanu Reeves stepped up, and boy, what a choice! So yeah, that's an iconic role now. But that movie, that's one of my favorite movies. I still watch that movie from time to time and still just get like little nuggets from it. It's interesting. In shamanism, let's see. Why do you think it was negative and not used? See, why do you think it was negative and not used? So I'm not understanding your question. You to critically think. You're trying to get me to critically think? Oh, okay. Let's see. Were you talking to me on that, Libera? See another gym. Let's see. Okay. It's a great movie. I'm going to have to watch it from the start. Yeah, Celestial, watch it. It's an interesting movie. So good movie. So same topic. Let's see. Central Marco Smith has a story on his YouTube channel. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. L. I had no idea about that. That he was slated to play that part. That would have been an interesting choice. Definitely. Will Smith is somebody I really respect because he's really he and Jada Pinkett Smith are two people that I think are on a journey that a lot of us just don't get. They look at it at a higher level. Difference of a channel is not. Please check your soul. Yeah, I agree. Vovi said yes at Celestial Shamak. I feel as though that's the difference of our age. Your humanity is being challenged, not just your beliefs. Yep, check your soul. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so all of us that were in the baby boomer age, man, there's a lot of stuff that we were getting challenged on big time. So again, the millennials, man, y'all are really going to change a lot of things. A lot of things. So why was our blackness challenged? So I mean, there could be any number of reasons there. But if you want to enslave a people, enslave their mind, and their bodies will follow. So that's the way I've always looked at it. It's understood that even religion was used to enslave black people. It really and still is today. Because if you think about all the images that we were given, the images were white gods. And subliminally, I don't care who you are. You cannot worship a white god as a black person and not think that white people are powerful. I just don't. You just can't. You can't get around that. So subliminally in one way or another. So again, through my experience, I've had to overcome a lot of that thinking. Let's see. God, do you agree that God is genderless, like either male? Yeah, L. God is not a person or a being at all. So God is a force. God is not in the form. It can't be because God is. God is everything. This pencil is God. It's part of spirit. Okay. So if it's a part of everything that can exist, it can't be that thing. But it can be thing can well, I can't say it can't be that thing. That thing expresses an aspect of it, all the time. Okay. So absolutely, God is genderless. So when we talk about in the African terms of they use anthropomorphic references to express metaphysical ideas. So if they were talking about something feminine, they just meant that it was within, and the anthropomorphic reference was to the womb. Okay. So so yeah, so Lightbearer said God means God on some level. Yes, I can. I think that God on some level is really the mind of who we are. Okay, our mind, because the kingdom of God is within. Okay, we have to go in to access that kingdom, and we have to turn our minds from the outside to the inner part of us. Okay. Yeah, Anubis was a guide. Yeah, that represented the idea of the guide. Yep, yep. So in the Roman Catholic Church and Christianity, they made God a male figure. Makes you wonder. So L says, so crazy in the Roman Catholic Church and Christianity, they made God a male figure. Makes you wonder. It doesn't make me wonder. They did that purposely, and they had their reasons for doing it. So absolutely. But again, that's where we got to come out of those ideas where we got to accept a lot of what the church taught us, all the rules and boxes that they put around us. And it's done damage and is doing damage. Yep, patriarchal BS. I agree. Let's see, when will the church say Holy Ghost? I would say, where's the ghost? I don't see anything. They say when the church said Holy Ghost, I say, where's the ghost? I don't see anything. Let's see, who we are. Let's see. More people contemplate the kingdom of God is within. More would be here now. Yep, yep, absolutely. Stephen says if more people will contemplate the kingdom of God is within, more would be here now. Yep. Brown skin. Ancient Egyptians, the first Egyptians were black, so they were black people. So it wasn't until the Greeks and people started coming over from Europe and mixing with Northern Africans that we had like light skin and stuff like that. But the prehistoric Egyptians were black people. The farther you go back in history, the blacker people are. Misuse and abuse. It's time for that. Yeah. Waaay said the divine masculine and feminine has been the divine masculine has been used and abused. It's time to have the feminine shift. And the feminine shift means it's going within. So absolutely, yes, that's what she says, to go within. So I think the church actually hindered my mental. Post-grad update. I agree 100%. It hinders all of us. Because if you think about it, the church tells you not to think. It tells you to believe. And when you believe, that means to believe without thinking and questioning it. That's faith, their brand of faith. So yes, it hampers mental growth on a lot of levels, a lot of levels. So, but still good qualities. Yeah, there's some good stuff that's been learned, but I think as society is concerned, I think that the way that religion has dictated a lot of things to us has really hurt us. So the mission is to go within. Yeah. You should always Jay Nurse, what's up? First time seeing you here. Let's see. It's up to you. The sin to think you go to hell. Yep. Yep. Yeah. I mean, if you think about Stephen said it's a sin to think, you go to hell for it. Think about Adam and Eve. What was their sin? You know? So it's like the church flipped what when you're supposed to gain wisdom to become wise, the church flipped that idea. So if you think about it, Adam and Eve went to the Eve ate from the tree of good, of knowledge of good and evil. Okay, she was not supposed to get knowledge. That was a sin. Okay, and not only that, the church indicted women as the ones who brought down all of mankind. What kind of crap is that? Patriarchal bull crap. Yeah, when you can look at it, Celestial says parts of the Bible is a compilation of ancient myths, and those parts are gems. When you can understand the mythological and allegorical language, absolutely, there are some gems in there, but not from the exoteric level. If you don't know the characters from an esoteric level, you can't get to the knowledge that you're supposed to through the Bible. The fall of Rome, which was a part of Egypt, empire fell, which was the birth of dark ages. Lightbearer, why do you think they did that? Why did they make the main, I guess, god or whatever? There's a lot of reasons, but I mean, I said it's a lot of things that is just like they did stuff. So hold on just a second. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So we got anything? Any other questions here? Let's see. So why do you think they? I don't know, Liberia. You ask me a lot of questions. You're asking me to get into the mind of somebody that was way back then. I can only surmise. So I don't know. Could it be to have you return over and over again? It's possible, but I don't. A lot of times, I don't think that they. I think that they did a lot of things because of theological wars and theological infighting. And over the years, it's just like taking on its own kind of what do you call it? Its own kind of energy. It's just and its own kind of feel. So it's not. There's a lot of reasons they did a lot of stuff. Okay, what is your expression? What is your expression on praying? Yeah, and I talked about that a little bit earlier. So you're a vibrational being. You're an energetic vibrational being. You're always praying. So to think that you're just talking to God when you put your hands together or when you get on your knees, that's an elementary way of thinking. So the more elevated way is that you're always praying, and you should come to know your vibrational status. You should come to know what your innermost thoughts are, because your innermost thoughts, your prayers are literally being reflected back to you as life. Okay, so you're always praying, and your innermost thoughts are always being reflected back to you. There's no what do you call it? There's no exception to that. But a lot of people think that everything outside of us is just something that just happens for no reason. But you're the creator of it. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Hello, Sammy D. Let's see. Did the ancient Egyptians practice blood sacrifice? I don't. That's something I've never studied. I know back in those days that they did that a lot. Different cultures. So it's possible, but it's not something that I've ever studied. So I can't answer that question. The illusion. Okay. Okay, Lightbearer, I hear you. I hear you. Let's see. Let's see. I've never heard of magician's person all the time. Yeah, and guys, I mean, like I said, Lightbearer was saying something. She disagreed with me about something, and that's fine. So, I have my own reality, and I have my way that I teach things and things that are important to me. And what's important to her is not going to be important to me. So, and that's okay. Put home doorways. Okay. All right, guys. It's coming up on an hour and 13 minutes. Is there anybody that had any other questions or anything you wanted to talk about? so, so yeah. So yeah. So like I said, it's just all of us, man. We're on our own journey. So and this is some stuff that I study and study in depth. Uh, you know, and I love doing that. Okay. All right. Well, all right, guys. Well, if there's no other questions, yeah, it's been a great discussion as always. I was hoping I could get me and Vo Vibes on together, but the technology just wouldn't let me do it. So hopefully the next time I can figure it out and we can get us both on, because she has a lot of knowledge that she can share as well. So especially from her birth chart readings and the astrology side of it. So she knows that a lot more in depth than I do. And matter of fact, you guys want to do birth chart readings, she's the one to go to, man, for sure. So what's the difference between perception and deception? Just the perspective. So, I guess if you accept somebody else's version of it, then you can be deceived, you know. But all of us have our perspectives. So, but it's a matter of how we look at it. That's all. So the ancient Egyptian skin color was actually the color of black. Now I don't know if think of how many versions of black people we have today, Ugoli. So they were probably dark skinned individuals. So yeah, I would say they probably were. Frequency I'm on. Shannon says, how can I find out what vibration or frequency I'm on? And that's a simple question there. I'll answer to that one. When it feels good, your vibration is high. When it feels bad, your vibration is low. Now you can go to anything in between there, but that's how. If it feels good, you're doing good. You're connecting with your soul essence when things feel good. When you're feeling or doing something that makes you feel bad or puts you in a negative state, you're actually in dissonance with the vibration of your soul. Okay, so that's one way you can look at it. Let's see, a lot of light. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Look out for me. I'll be getting a reading very soon. All right, Jabbar said he'll be getting a reading very soon. All right, Jabbar. Jabbar's tearing it up in that class, man. I sure appreciate you in there, Jabbar. You and Steven. So you guys really, I appreciate you guys and how y'all interact in there. So definitely. Let's see. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I guess we'll end it here. And it's been a great discussion. I really appreciate all you guys that have been here. And always, so we'll do it again next week. All right. Y'all have a great day. Oh, it might be a little bit later next week because I know I got the class. We're actually doing our live stream next weekend at this time. So I'll have to see if we can do this a little bit later. All right. Okay, guys. Y'all have a good one. All right, Celestial. Y'all have bye-bye. Y'all have a great day.